You know, I kept staring at you at the party, and then it came to me. That's Estella from school.
It's not Estella. That's the past. I'm Cruella.
Obviously, longtime Disney fans know who Anita Darling is, but we get to learn a little bit more about her backstory here. And I'm just curious, how do you think she gets to the point she's at when we first meet her in this movie in Cruella?
Well, okay, so when we first meet her in this film, you know, we meet her as a kid, which I think is a really nice way of tying this, like the way their stories come together. We kind of knew that they were childhood friends, but it's nice to see how that came to be. And then you kind of understand that Anita saw Cruella through some of this, you know, through her being bullied and through all this sort of childhood trauma, and then they reconnect as adults. What I think is nice is that, yeah, like you said, longtime fans know the character of Anita and they know her a certain way, which is when she's older and she's a mother and things like that. But it's nice to kind of go back and see who she was before all of that. And then it's also really fun for this next generation who, you know, maybe know Cruella, the character of Cruella de Vil, but maybe haven't even watched anything, to see Anita in a way that, you know, I will be the first Anita that they ever see. And that is also really, really exciting.
With that in mind, like what would you want these young viewers seeing her for the first time to understand about her then? Like, who is Anita?
What I think Anita represents is the thing that all three of the women share in this film. I think actually every character, but particularly our two leads, and then I think Anita, they share this sense of ambition, right? But the way they go about it is all very different. Emma Thompson's character, the Baroness, is ruthless, essentially. And then I think Cruella is constantly in this battle between nature and nurture and who she really is versus who she wants to be. And I think Anita is kind of right there in the middle. She's very steadfast. She knows herself and she understands. I think she sees the world a little differently. And in terms of ambition, she wants to get to a certain place, but it's still important to her to treat people well and treat people fairly in order to get there. And I hope that people take that away from it, and that I think ambition is absolutely beautiful, but I think that ambition needs to be paired with compassion.
I'm curious, kind of a tangent, but I noticed on your Instagram, you've got a little Shea Coulee shout out on there.
Coulee, one of my
How can you not?
One of my absolute faves. Shea Coulee, Chi Devane, and Raja.
Oh, perfect. So if those three...
Oh, and Raven.
Like,
sorry.
and Raven?
Yeah, and Raven.
Yeah, definitely. On the scale, if like those four are on like the end of the spectrum of fabulousness and the other end is just like meh, I mean, where's Anita? Is she kind of more towards their end of
you know, I wish
opulence?
It would be all the way there in opulence. I mean, the truth is Raven and Cruella, like that's where Cruella is. Cruella is in that.
Yeah.
I think Anita is like a little bit more past the halfway line. Like she's pretty fabulous in her own way. I mean, have you ever seen a more perfect afro in your whole life? Like, I think she's still fabulous. She's just not as like flamboyantly fabulous as other characters and as those queens.
I feel like Anita, yeah, she's kind of killing it. I love the period detail.
Yeah,
It's
she rocks
great
a
on her.
suit pretty well.
So I have to ask, because we know what's in Anita's future, lots and lots of dogs. Are you a dog person yourself? Or are you more of a cat person? Where do we fall there?
I am kind of in between. Like, it's really interesting because my boyfriend is a huge cat person and is always like, should we get a cat? Should we get a cat? And I think I lean more towards cats. Weirdly, I think towards dogs in terms of what I like, but I think my personality is more cat-like. I've been told by many people. Don't know if that's a compliment or a dig, but I'm like more cat-like. But I do think as well, I'm a dog person. I don't have a dog, but I think that's because I understand the responsibility of a dog. I'm very much like, oh yeah, I'm the walking ad of a dog is for life, not just for Christmas. And I think about it constantly.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, do you want to go on holiday this year? That's going to be a consideration.
Right. Yeah, I would love one, but I don't have an apartment big enough for that to even be a reality.
I think that's a responsible dog person.
Yes. So I kind of along those lines, I know in the past, the 101 Dalmatians movies have promoted like a spike in Dalmatian ownership. People have been like going out, seeking out Dalmatians, because how can you not? I mean, they're so cute in the movies. If Cruella were to have that same effect on the economy, what spike do you think it will drive? Do you think people are going to be seeking out maybe some punk music, or where we go from here?
You know what I think this Cruella will do? I mean, first of all, some of the dogs in our film are rescue. So if it does create a spike, I hope it does in the dog world. I hope people lean towards getting rescue dogs. I don't think the Dalmatians, I don't think it will spike a sort of like Dalmatian craze so much as what I hope it spikes is like a return to like fashion almost. I think we've all had this year of just like sweats or pajamas, or at least like business from the waist up, comfort from the waist down on these Zooms. And I think what's really exciting about Cruella for me is the idea of people being like, oh, I want to get dressed up and go and see that film, and it being a return to like fabulousness and opulence and that sort of thing, at least in the way you dress. And when I say opulence, it doesn't have to be, it can be, you know, things like what I do, things you find in thrift stores or charity shops, but just like excitement in the way we kind of look and the way we express ourselves. I come from the school of RuPaul's Drag Race, which is we're all born naked and the rest is drag. So a return to drag, let's say.
Yes, definitely. And Rue's #1 rule: no H&M. We don't want to see any of that.
yes, I remember that so clearly.
But no, I see what you're saying. I mean, that's a really interesting point that I don't know if I thought about, because we were culturally, I feel like, kind of trending towards athleisure anyway. Yeah. And then obviously this last year changed all that. I'm like, yeah, sweatpants now, you can roll up the ankle a little. And I'm like, that's enough to go to the grocery store, right?
I'm over sweats. I mean, I will say, like, the beginning of this year, I was like, all right, jeans, you're gonna do it. And it really did feel like, and like, man, you've crossed the Rubicon. We're back into jeans. But from jeans, I hope we go even further into, you know, some of the fabulouses. I hope we're all inspired by this film to make some daring fashion choices.
You have a bit of an extreme side.
Yes, darling. And what fun that is.